Hello, and welcome back to the Chocolate Talk Part 2 of Episode 3, and we're talking about relationships. So, Anthony, what is some relationship advice you would give to some of our peers? What would you say?
Number one is definitely have respect for not only yourself, but your partner. That's definitely. Number one thing. In our generation, we lack respect. By that means we settle. There's a whole bunch of things. There's many different aspects to respect. Number one is you just gotta carry yourselves well, man. I mean, expect more from your significant other. Don't settle just because y'all feel like y'all in love and y'all feel like things are going good. Because, I mean, the mind is a powerful thing and you can easily deceive yourself into thinking that what you're going through is pleasant, which it is not, because you're going to be sad as hell and you're going to be depressed and you're going to want to kill yourself. I'm just okay. That was a stretch.
Went from zero
but on the cool though. Like all jokes aside, it's not really bad. I'm not even trying to joke about that because that's a very serious matter, very serious subject. But it really can get to that extent. That's why I said it in the first place. So like I said, really settling is just one of those things to where it's just like don't settle. If you especially know your worth, which I hope and pray that majority of y'all do, once you know your worth, there's no need to settle. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what you want and get what you want because that's you deserve that. But I mean, as for you, what would be some advice?
My biggest advice to would be to not ignore the red flags. If you feel like something in your spirit don't feel right, if you feel like whatever they're saying to you, is not right, feel like how they treating you, whatever, always go with whatever your gut says because most of the time your gut is not lying to you. You're not crazy, you know what's going on. Don't ignore the red flags. Don't feel like because y'all been together this long that it's okay or it can get better. It's okay. It'll get better temporarily. The time really not gonna make a difference per se. But don't ignore the red flags. Trust your instincts. It's probably the biggest things in my relationships that I learned is to not ignore my gut. I've had plenty of bad experiences and I've had good experiences. But yeah, in all of those, I've learned that, if you give me weird energy or the vibe is weird, then we either gotta talk about it or I'm gonna just go off of that and I'm gonna just do.
Facts.
Yeah, that's
huge facts. Red flags are definitely something because a common mistake. A common mistake that we all make, literally a common mistake, and like I said, I've been guilty of it before, and everything that I'm saying to you guys is literally just based off the fact that we genuinely care for y'all. We're not just saying these things for clout. We're not saying any of these things to be funny.
It's totally a teachable
This
moment.
is real life. Yeah. It's real life.
We're in the prime of our lives. It's all something
literally,
that
we're all
going through.
Honestly, red flags is one of the biggest things.
Yes.
Just because you really like somebody, just because you're really in love, baby girl.
Love don't pay the bills, sis.
Bruh, I'm telling you, like, when you ignore them red flags, not only are you enabling the action,
you putting yourself in danger, and don't ever feel like somebody is more important than your safety and your health in all aspects. You are always number one. And that goes for men and women. You are always first.
Y'all notice I literally stopped talking because she was literally saying everything that I was thinking. I didn't even have to continue because she literally said everything I was literally about to say. Protect yourself.
Most definitely, always.
Physically, mentally, emotionally. Like, bruh, in all seriousness, y'all don't see a smile on my face. I'm so serious. Like, this is real life. Like, honestly, this is how people become depressed. This is how people get mental illness. Like, it is real out here. And number one,
definitely.
You are ruining yourself by enabling stuff that you wouldn't accept from the get-go. Right. This goes for not only, particularly in my opinion, women, but then at the same time men too. Like, I'm not leaving any men out because we go through as much as everybody goes through stuff, man. And like I said, love will really have you out here looking stupid. Like stupid. Crazy.
And know what your definition of love is. Oftentimes we think that we're in love with somebody because we like what they do for us, or we like how they treat us, or we like the words they say to us. That's love to a certain extent, but love is about being a friend. It's about responsibility. It's about loyalty. It's about togetherness. So if you feel like they're not meeting one of those aspects, then that's not love. That's more just Lust ain't the word, but it's not love. It's not strong enough to be love.
It's kind of like an in between thing. I guess you can refer to it as liking. I don't know, but yes, ladies and gentlemen, kings and queens, please by all means protect yourself emotionally in all aspects, because once you're broken, it's a very traumatic experience. Thank God I've never really been at that point, but I've heard and I know a lot of people that have. It's not. I wouldn't think it's a pleasant feeling. It's definitely it doesn't feel good. And then on top of that, it's just like for your next relationships that you may enter, it's gonna be twice as harder for that person to even get to you as an individual and really connect with you, because you are broken. I mean,
see, I've been there. I've been that person that's had a real bad relationship and been broken. And like he's saying, it does take you a minute to kind of feel like you get back to yourself. I've been in a relationship where I went through anxiety and depression. I had those things before the relationship, but being in a relationship kind of heightened it and kind of made it a little bit worse. And once everything kind of settled, it was really hard for me. It took me a minute to kind of want to get out of bed and want to do all the things that I felt like made me myself.
Right.
But it's not easy. You know, you're not just going to snap out of it, but eventually that feeling will get old and you'll want to get back to yourself. So it's just all about healing is a journey and self-love is a journey. So a day at a time, it'll get better. It's probably my best advice. Just to breathe is probably my best advice. It'll help.
I definitely agree with you on that one. That's some major key points that you hit. I like that, like for real. Another thing for me is really being vulnerable. I feel like that's another stage that it's definitely hard. It's very hard. I just feel like if we as a whole were to be more willing to be vulnerable to one another, even though it is a dangerous thing, of course I would expect you to kind of get to know the person, even though people can pretend and put up this front. Really, our generation just lacks showing emotion, which I don't blame, because like I said, people are idiots. But then at the same time, we have to just be able to really admit how we feel.
What are some red flags that, how do you know what red flags are? Because, I try to accept and see the best in people.
If you feel any type of way based off of what somebody's actions have done towards you, and I mean any type of way, the feeling is different for each individual, I suppose. I would think as soon as you feel a slight change in attitude just based off of what your significant other has done, even if it's like the littlest thing, that's definitely a red flag in my opinion.
Okay.
What do you think?
For me, a red flag would be anything that makes you feel uncomfortable. If you feel like it makes you feel uneasy, or it's something that you constantly think about, like you feel like, oh, that was weird, but it's still a thought later on, then that's definitely a red flag, and don't ignore it, because that's a tough situation to be in for sure.
Yep.
Okay, the next question is for Kendall. What advice would you give to people going to college? They had a relationship in high school, or trying to bring that to college.
I would say my best advice would be to communicate. It's all about having an understanding. If before y'all decide to go off to y'all's universities, y'all had the conversation of, oh, this is gonna be our visiting schedule. This is how we're gonna keep in touch. I'm gonna call you at this time, kind of thing. It's really more so about that, and it's really about each person's level of commitment. Y'all are young, so I wouldn't say stress it too much. But if it's something that you really want, I would say communicate and stay committed, and make sure that that's something that y'all constantly remind each other of. But also don't lose sight of your own goal of being in college. Remember what you're there for, but whatever's important to you, make sure it's on your list of priorities.
Okay, there's one more question for Anthony. So I have a girlfriend, and we've been together for a while, but my family and friends don't like her. How do I handle that?
Oh.
Well, I'm glad they asked you that one, because my response is
typical me would say, just just based off the fact that y'all are in love, if your significant other seems like a perfect fit to you, if things are going well, but your family doesn't really like them for one reason or the other, wow, that's tough. Dang. in all honesty, I would still go through with the relationship, honestly, because it's just like at a point in time.
Wow.
I mean, I would.
Because, I just want to hear reasons.
Because just based off the fact that if that person is truly good for you, if y'all are both benefiting, if that person brings out the best in you, if that person is doing things that makes you happy, if you feel happiness when you're around that person, why not continue? I mean, at the end of the day, it's you that's going to be spending, the time that you're spending with that person, not your family. So it's just like, I mean, I know that's a difficult one because there's going to be situations to where like that person is brought around your family. So yeah, I mean, just do you. If you're bold enough to follow through with the relationship, do it. If not, then yeah.
Okay. And then one more question for Kendall. I have a boyfriend, but he doesn't believe in God. I mean, even for this sake, just different religions at that point.
Okay. I would say, depending on how important your faith is to you, that could probably be a deal breaker because it's gonna be hard to have spiritual and religious based conversation if you feel really strongly about your religion and he feel really strongly about his. Y'all are gonna constantly butt heads, and if that's just an argument you're not willing to get into whenever that topic comes up, then I would say just go ahead and figure out y'all can come to a solution or dissolve it and figure out whatever needs to be done so that it doesn't get to a point where it's really bad. For me, that wouldn't be a deal breaker because I'm open to pretty much anything. But yeah, it all depends on how important your faith is to you. If you feel like Christianity is something that's up there on the list of things that is important in your heart and that describes you, then I would say to probably just let it go because it's not gonna help you in your walk with whatever your religion is. So if it's pushing you away from your religion and not helping you get to whatever your spiritual goal is, then I would say let it go.
Okay. Anthony, what advice do you have for single mothers?
Man, just try your best to really of course, obviously be there for the child, but keep it real with them at all times. I mean, I think I would just feel like as long as you keep it real with your child from the get-go, you really just tell them how it is. Even though you're going to try your best to kind of keep a lot of things away from that child, just being the fact that y'all are in the situation y'all are in. Definitely always keep it real with the child from when they little to, adulthood, because that's only going to make the child stronger. Unfortunately, of course, y'all are in y'all's particular situation just due to many things, but really just make that child your best friend. Be there for the child. Always just be honest with the child. Honestly, that's honestly my only thing that I would recommend for single mothers.
And then same question for you, Kendall.
My best advice would be to, like he said, tell your kid that me and your dad not together, but we still love each other, or y'all have an understanding or whatever it may be. But I would just say have a strong village would be my best advice. Have people that you feel like will be there to support you and love you and be there on those tough days no matter how hard it gets without expecting things in return. People who are genuinely going to support you. I come from a line of single mothers. My mom was a single mother when she had my brother when she was young. And at times she would say that she was a married single mom because my dad was in the army and he would get restationed. So it would be times where it would just be me, my mom, and my brother at home, and she would be kind of temporarily raising by herself. Of course, my dad was always active because they are married, but it would be time when she was just there for us, and I would just say, yeah, it's about effort. Wake up every day, and no matter what you feel like, give it 100%, but have a strong village, and make sure you got people that are going to have your back genuinely, and that'll help you a lot, because you're always going to wear that label, so.
Okay, so we have 5 minutes left on the video, so I just want to cover one thing. You guys get 2 minutes each. Anthony, from your last relationships, whatever they may have been, Kendall, same for you. Okay. What is your ideal relationship, ideal woman? Talk to us about just you.
My ideal woman is definitely a woman who is my best friend. Literally my best friend. I'm talking about like no limits or anything. Like anything can be discussed. It's a constant feeling of joy when we are around each other. I just want somebody who is always pushing me to be my greatest self at all costs, and I would, of course, love to do the same thing for her. Period. I mean, that's literally my ideal marriage. Just being best friends and lovers, and just being there for each other.
Okay, my ideal man is someone who's loyal, someone who's understanding, someone who listens with intentions to listen and not reply first. More than anything, someone who's just a good person, someone who's going to genuinely be my friend, because friendship is a very important aspect of relationship. It's probably the most important because as my mom would always say, you have to like someone more than you love them, because on the days that the love is wavering, you have to like them enough to want to be in the same room with them and actually care about what they say and care about their well-being. Because you can love will fade, but to like somebody is something that it takes a lot of effort to be a real friend to somebody. So someone who's just loyal and who's really just down for me even when I'm down or when I'm up. Someone who's just gonna be there and be loyal.
Well, I mean, number one, like I said, thank y'all so much for tuning in to episode 3. It really means a lot to both of us, the Chocolate Talk. We appreciate y'all.
Yes.
If y'all have any topics that y'all would like us to discuss on the Chocolate Talk, by any means, DM me or her. Of course, we'll put up the ad names on the screens. Any suggestions on what we should do? Also, same thing, DM one of us. We'll be more than glad to get to it.
Yes, questions, comments,
concerns, everything. But please like, subscribe, and comment your opinions and everything. Share the word, all that good stuff. So once again, we thank y'all so much. It's your boy, Mr. Chocolate.
And it's your girl, Kendall.
Peace out.